Hi guys, I hope all is well. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Project Management Tutor. You know, here we dive into project management. Today, we will discuss 12 agile principles which support businesses to streamline their product development cycle and achieve better results through flexible and reactive system. The focus is on delivering value, maintaining a sustainable work pace, and ensuring technical excellence. Let's discuss. In addition to the four Agile Manifesto values, the authors of the manifesto created 12 guiding principles for Agile methods. First, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Second, welcome changing requirements, even late in the development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. Third, deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter time scale. Fourth, business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Fifth, build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. Sixth, the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face to face conversation. Seventh, working software is the primary measure of progress. Eighth, agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Ninth, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. 10th, simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. 11th, the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self organizing teams. 12th, at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. Let's take a closer look at each of the 12 agile principles. Again, repeating, although software development terms may be used, think about how the concept apply to other types of knowledge worker projects. So let's discuss first agile principle. The first agile principle is our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. There are three main points in this principle. First is satisfy the customer. Second is early and continuous delivery. Third is delivering of valuable software. So, first part is to satisfy the customer. Suppose if we produce perfect plans and documentation to delight our project management office PMO or quality assurance group, then we have failed because our focus should be on the customer. I hope you understood. The second point is early and continuous delivery. We must structure the project and project team to deliver early and then deliver frequently. This can be a struggle if people are reluctant to share incomplete work, and it takes courage and support for everyone to become comfortable with this idea. We must achieve this point if we are to learn of problems while we still have time to fix them. However, it is better to get something wrong upfront and have time to correct it than to discover the issue much later when so much more has been built on top of faulty foundation. Final point is that what we are delivering is valuable software, not completed work products, work background structure items, documentation, or plans. The focus is on the end goal. For software projects, this is the software. For other types of projects, the end goal will be the product or service that the project was undertaken to deliver or enhance. The second agile principle is welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. See, changes can be great for a project if they allow us to deliver some late breaking, high priority feature. Yet, from a traditional project management point of view, changes are often seen in a negative light. They are designated as scope creep and considered to be the reason the project deviated from the plan. Many traditional projects have such rigorous change control procedures that only the highest priorities make it through. On such projects, much of the time and effort is spent logging and managing change requests. This kind of rigorous change management approach is problematic for software projects or for any type of project that experiences high rate of changes. In contrast, agile project management accepts that changes will occur. In fact, the extreme programming methodology advocates that we embrace changes instead of creating a high overhead mechanism for processing changes. Agile methods use a lightweight, high visibility approach for prioritizing the changes into the backlog of work to be done. By accepting that changes will happen and by setting up a efficient way to deal with them, a team can spend more time developing the projects and product rather than suppressing changes. Agile methods work to create a well understood, high visibility way of handling changes that keeps the project adaptive and flexible as long as possible. The third agile principle is deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter time scale. See, despite our best intentions and knowledge that early feedback is valuable, it is human nature to want to create something good before sharing it. However, we are doing ourselves a disservice by holding on to our work for so long. It is better to get feedback early and often to avoid going too far down the wrong track. This principle emphasizes the importance of releasing work to a test environment and getting feedback. Frequent testing and feedback are so important that continuous integration tools have been created to provide feedback to developers about any code they have written that breaks the build. Agile teams need feedback on what they have created thus far to see if they can proceed or if a change of course is needed. Delivering within a short time frame also has the benefit of keeping the business engaged and keeping dialogue about the project going. With frequent deliveries, the project team regularly has results to show the business and the opportunities to get feedback. Often at these demos, the team learns of new requirements or changes in business priorities that are valuable planning inputs. The fourth agile principle is business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. See, daily face to face engagement with business representatives is one of the most difficult principles to ensure from a practical standpoint, but it is really worth pushing for. Written documents, emails, and even telephone calls are often inefficient ways of transferring information when compared to face interactions. By working with business representatives daily, the development team learns about the business in a way that is far beyond what a collection of requirements gathering meetings can ever achieve. As a result, the development team is better able to suggest solutions and alternatives to business requests. The business representatives also learn what type of solutions are expensive or slow to develop and what features are cheap. They can then begin to fine tune their requests in response. When it is not possible to have daily interactions between the business representatives and development team, agile methods try to get the two groups working together regularly in some way, perhaps every 2 days or whatever type of frequent involvement will work. Some teams uses a proxy customer in which an experienced business analyst who is familiar with the business interests serves as a substitute, but this is not an ideal option. The fifth agile principle is build projects around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. See, having motivated and smart people on the team can make the biggest difference in whether our project will be delivered successfully and efficiently. While we may not always be able to pick our dream team, we can do our part to try to motivate our team members. Since the team is such an important factor on the project, agile methods promote empowered teams. People work better when they are given the autonomy to organize and plan their own work. Agile methods advocate freeing the team from the micromanagement of completing tasks on Gantt chart. Instead, the emphasis is on the craftsmanship, peer collaboration, and teamwork, which result in high rates of productivity. Knowledge worker projects involve team members who have unique areas of expertise. Such development teams are best served when they are allowed to make many of the day to day decisions and handle local planning for the project. As project managers, this does not mean that we abdicate involvement or abandon our team. Instead, we recognize the team members as experts in what they do and provide the support they need to ensure they are successful. The sixth agile principle is the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face to face conversation. See, written documents are great for creating a lasting record of events and decisions, but they are slow and costly to produce. In contrast, face to face communications allow us to quickly transfer a lot of information and also convey emotion and body language. With face to face conversations, questions can be immediately answered instead of parked with the hope that there will be follow up explanation or the answer will become clear later. As an example of this concept, if instead of seeing this video, you were talking to me directly, we could quickly skip all the stuff you already know and focus on the areas you want to learn more about. Written documents have to assume a lower starting point so as not to confuse the general audience. Of course, this recommendation for face to face conversations cannot be applied to all communications, but it should be followed whenever possible. This is one example of how agile methods need to be customized or scaled for each project, and such scaling does take skill. As team sizes grow, face to face communications are harder to organize, and we have to introduce an appropriate level of written documentation. The seventh agile principle is working software is the primary measure of progress. See, by adopting working software as the primary measure of progress. We immediately promote working software as the project focus, and efforts to create documentation and designs become a sporting rather than primary activity. Expressions like what gets measured gets done and you get what you measure apply here. Since measurement reinforces activity, if a feature cannot be measured or tested, in other words, if it does not work, it is not considered complete. This emphasis on working software helps ensure the team gets acceptance of features rather than marking items as completed development when they have not yet been accepted. This definition of progress and the binary nature of working software create a results oriented view of the project. Interim deliverables and partially completed work get no external recognition. Instead, the end goal of the project, a product that can be used by the business, remains the project focus. The eighth principle of Agile is Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. See, agile methods strive to maximize value over the long term. Some of the rapid application development techniques that preceded agile promoted or at least accepted long intense periods of prototyping prior to demos. The trouble with the rapid application development approach of working teams for long hours over an extended period of time is that people burn out and start to make mistakes. It is not a sustainable practice. So, instead of long, intense development periods, agile methods recognize the value of maintaining a sustainable pace that allows team members to have a work life balance. Not only is a sustainable pace better for the team, but it benefits the organization as well. Long workdays lead to people resigning, and the organization loses talent and domain knowledge. Hiring and integrating new members into a team is a slow and expensive process. Therefore, working at a pace that can be maintained indefinitely creates a happier and more productive team. Happier teams also get along with the business representatives better than overworked teams. There is less tension and work relationships improve. Some agile methods, like extreme programming, recommended maintaining a 40-hour work week as a guiding principle. Today, most methods don't establish specific limits, but they do recommend paying close attention to the level of effort the team is putting forth to ensure a sustainable pace. The ninth agile principle is continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. While we want the development team to work hard and deliver a lot of value, we also have to be mindful of keeping the design clean, efficient, and open to changes. Technical excellence and good design allow the product or development team to understand and update the design easily. In the software world, once the code base becomes tangled, the organization loses its ability to respond to changing needs. In other words, it loses its agility. So we need to give the development team enough time to undertake refactoring. Refactoring is the housekeeping, cleanup, and simplifications that need to be made to code to ensure it's stable and can be maintained over the long term. A project needs to balance its efforts of delivering high value features with giving continuous attention to the design of the solutions. This balance allows a system to deliver long term value without becoming difficult to maintain, change, or extend. The 10th agile principle is simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. The most reliable features are those we don't build, since there is nothing that could wrong with them. And in the software world, up to 60% of features that are built are either infrequently used or never used. Because so many features that are built are never actually used, and because complex systems have an increased potential to be unreliable, agile methods focus on simplicity. This means boiling down requirements to the essential elements only. Complex projects take longer to complete, are exposed to a longer horizon of risk, and have more potential failure points and opportunities for cost overruns. Therefore, agile methods seek the simplest thing that could possibly work and recommend that this solution be built first. This approach is not intended to preclude further extension and elaboration of a product. Instead, it is simply saying, let's get the plain vanilla version built first. This approach not only mitigates risk but also helps boost sponsor confidence. The 11th agile principle is the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self organizing teams. This principle may sound odd depending on how literally you listen it. Essentially, it is saying that to get the best out of people, we have to let them self organize. People like self organizing, it allows them to find an approach that works best for their methods, their relationships, and their environment. They thoroughly understand and support the approach because they helped create it. As a result, they produce better work. If you take a more literal approach to this statement, however, you may ask why the best architectures, requirements, and designs come from the project team rather than from the organization's best architects, business analysts, and designers who may not be in the team. In my experience, the answer to this question is that architectures, requirements, and designs are best when they are implemented by those who originate them. Although external recommendations may have more technical merit on paper, if they are implemented differently than originally envisioned or without conviction by the team, they will ultimately be less successful. Self organizing teams with the autonomy to make the decisions have a higher level of ownership and pride in the architectures, requirements, and designs they create than in those that are forced on them or suggested from external sources. Internally, created approaches go through the team vetting process for alignment and approval. Simply put, ideas created by the team don't need to be sold to the team since they have already been vetted. In contrast, ideas coming from outside the team do need to be sold to the team for the implementation to be successful, and this is sometimes a challenging task. Another factor that supports this principle is that the self organizing project team is closest to the technical details of the project. As a result, they are best able to spot implementation issues along with opportunities for improvements. So instead of trying to educate external resources about the evolving structure of the project, agile methods leverage the capacity of the team to best diagnose and improve the architectures, requirements, and designs. After all, the team members are the most informed about the project and have the most vested in it. The 12th Agile principle is at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. Gathering lessons learned at the end of a project is frankly too little, too late. Instead, we need to gather lessons learned while they are still applicable and actionable. This means we need to gather them during the project and, most importantly, make sure we do something about what we have learned to adjust how we complete work on the remainder of the project. Agile projects employ frequent reviews or look backs called retrospectives to reflect on how things are working on the project and to identify opportunities for improvements. These retrospectives are typically done at the end of each iteration. This means there are many retrospectives on each project. One advantage of doing retrospectives so frequently is that the details don't get forgotten. Compare this to conducting a single lessons learned review at the end of a project when team members are asked to think back a year or more to recall what went well and where there were issues. Another disadvantage of only gathering lessons learned at the end of a project is that the lessons will not be really helpful to the organization until another project with similar business or technical domains or team dynamics comes along. And at that point, it is often easy to dismiss lessons learned from another project as not applicable to the current situation. On an agile project, the lessons learned are captured from the team as the project progresses, so no one can claim they don't apply. Instead, the team knows they are relevant and is pushed to tune and adjust their behavior accordingly. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, then please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your family and friends. Your support means a lot. Take care.